I don't think it's on. Sorry. Okay, let's start over. 1,673 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. Let me make sure that I'm on. I forgot to push that button, but I caught it. Ooh. It is. We're burning the midnight oil. We have no time to sleep because it is so crazy. This is what happens. You play ping pong. You're ping pong everywhere when you're coming to an end of a case, right? This is what is so obvious when things get really crazy like this, and you're trying to um, make sure all the I's are dotted. Make sure that you have all your evidence organized to hard evidence and irregularities and circumstantial evidence, and you have all your webs drawn out of who is connected to who and what is happening, and all your mappings, and all of that, um, hard evidence, all of the recordings, all of the journaling, all of the screenshots, right? All of the screenshots, all of the messages, all of the documents, um, all of that. You just have to, and I just praise my husband for being so organized. And I'll tell you a little story. Um, he really he's always journaled, right? He's always journaled, and I've told that story before. But all this story, this commotion about the 5 things that you've done in the last week, right? And people having a hard time, freaking out. Oh, you mean I have to jot down 5 things I've done this week? And they're all freaking out. And it's like, really, I could tell you in the first hour of my day what 5 things. Um, but you have to be able to write it. You have to be able to put it down. And journaling is such a good habit to get into. I haven't been like when I was younger, a journal, keeping a journal. Um, so when this whole case came, um, it was just so uh, regular for Rob to journal everything, right? To absolutely record everything, journal everything, keep it all tracked. And he told me that Robeson really got him back into that. And Robeson is uh, a fellow soldier. Years back, when Allison, our youngest daughter, was very, very young, I think she was like a year old, um, that he's the one that was journaling at work, writing down at the end of the day before he went home everything he had accomplished that day, everything that happened. And Rob had asked him why he was doing that, and he goes, um, you never know when you're going to need it. You never know. And I've just and Rob goes, I'm gonna start doing that again. So that was back at Walter Reed when he was in perfusion school. Before he went home, he would write down everything that he had done that day, and he has done that consistently. Um, and so it was just a since then, um, it was just a very easy thing for him to do in Richard's case, to write down everything that had happened, day to day to day. And of course, I started with the social media, eh, putting it all out there, what was happening every day. So I became, like this, um, I guess, a social media journal, journalize. What do you call it? Journalist, journalist. Um, every day. And that has absolutely helped us put all of the pieces together. And Patrick Crusius is a huge part of Richard's case because the Walmart case is a huge part in Richard's case. And this is why both cases have been frozen, right? They just want to freeze it. They don't want it to go forward. And this is why there's been so much tampering in both and why it's cost so much money. And why they want to cover that up and why they have to keep El Paso judicial system in total chaos. It is totally broken and in chaos. They don't even have a DA right there now. They don't have a DA. They don't have legitimate judges. They have criminal judges. Judge Guadarrama, sorry, he's absolutely committed a huge crime with the Patrick Crucius, the Walmart mass shooting case. Um, and um, and in the I would say to us, very unprofessional in the responses. Um, and then to have the medical examiner and to have Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, and her connection to Felix Valenzuela, the Mormon lawyer that's on the Walmart mass shooting, being connected to Danae Katzen, being absolutely connected to Lilani Hart, and of course the Mormon connection, and the 3905 Bliss Avenue, the 3705 Bliss Avenue connection. They are absolutely connected, and that connects them to the inner part of the Walmart mass shooting because Felix Valenzuela is, the what do you call him? The co-attorney with Joe Spencer, right? With Joe Spencer and all of this. Um, and really up to no good in so many ways. And now with everything coming together, of course, Joe Spencer totally discredited, totally, it's, well, uh, let's just say that we never had an intent to have people fired, right? That wasn't our intention to have people fired, but that is what's going on. Our simple open records request, our simple um, uh, complaints about the handling of this case and Richard's connection to the Walmart mass shooting case, Richard's connection to El Mayo's case. El Mayo Zapata, I think he's very close to being extradited to Mexico. You know, and we're kept in the circle on all of that because, of course, of our filings when it comes to him and the um, very weird circumstance that his lawyer uh, has a commonality to Richard's case and um, the Santa Teresa International Jetport. Just that the common leads that have crossed that case. Um, and just our inquiries have shaken things up, right? Just our inquiries because they've looked into it, what uh, um, our questions were. And so, he might be extradited to Mexico. And then, others absolutely are being fired. And that would be one of them is Jaime Esparza. We were absolutely told that our uh, suggestion, our request for him to be fired was a very big part of him being fired. And so we were very happy to see that. And now we have even more that, and of course, over the years, we've had uh, we're contacted to let us know that our filings resulted in a firing. And so, and the media likes to kind of smooth out the edges, sugarcoat it, and saying, "Oh, the departure," or whatever. But no, they're fired. They're absolutely fired because they are really derelict in their duty. And no one can argue the fact that Jaime Esparza was absolutely forgot where he came from. He forgot his roots. He forgot who he is. He absolutely um, forgot El Paso. He forgot. He absolutely forgot. And and he didn't do anything, right? Um, yeah, and he absolutely is derelict in his duty. There's no sugarcoating that. He needed to be fired because he's up to no good. He's absolutely up to no good. I mean, he's was in the DA's office with Michael Mayella, the hacker, not the father that's in there with Judge Guadarrama in the federal courthouse with his wife, with his daughter marrying Patrick Crusius's brother. No, this is the son, Michael Mayella, who's a hacker, who's in the DA's office with Jaime Esparza, with James Montoya, and others. Wouldn't it be something if Priscilla Mata was there, right, in the courthouse? Wouldn't that be something? That would be something if Priscilla Mata, was in that house, in that courthouse. If uh, when you're in a courthouse for that long, there's evidence of that. There's evidence. You can, people can try to um tamper all they want, right? They can try to tamper. But lies and tampering is lies, right? Tampering is absolutely lying. Um James Montoya with his oath of office and the statement of officer, just total lies. Same with Bill Hicks. And here, James Montoya was there with Jaime Esparza, with Michael Mayella, and, you know, all of that. There's evidence of all of that. There's evidence of Lorraine Mayella being involved in this. There's evidence of David Guadarrama, and there's evidence of the Walmart mass shooting being totally entwined with Richard's case. And you know, this is a good question. Maybe I should put up a poll. Maybe I need to learn how to put up a poll. I will put up a poll if maybe I need to learn how to do that. How to put up a poll um, for a live stream. I'm going to look. But what came first? What do you say comes first? The Walmart mass shooting case or Richard's case? What comes first? I'd like, leave a comment. Leave a comment if you want to take a shot at that. And I probably shouldn't have said that. Um, I should have said if you want to try that, right? If you want to try that. What came first, the Walmart mass shooting or Richard's case? If you said Richard's case, then you were right. Not very many people say Richard's case, but Richard's case came first. Richard's case came first, and it's a huge case. And I'm not saying that the Walmart mass shooting is not a huge case, and I'm not saying that Richard's very brutal murder on Fort Bliss is, you know, it creates so much horror right in our family. And I'm sure that the deaths of the victims absolutely have created so much horror, and for these cases to be tampered with and obstructed, just so much obstruction in them to go forward. We want to know what happened in the Walmart mass shooting case. We want to see a trial. We want to see Patrick Crusius on the stand. He's still alive. Let's put him on the stand. Let's ask him. Let's ask him about his absolute confession at the very beginning where he said, "No, I'm not a racist." And then it seems like they tampered with the paperwork, because they absolutely put in there uh, for probable cause that he was a racist. But then it's on audio with Joe Spencer that he absolutely um, did not. Oh, sorry. It's almost 1 o'clock. I'm telling you, it's been a crazy long day. Um, excuse me. But absolutely, he was not a racist. He's not a racist. He's not a white supremacist. So that leads to the question, who tampered the probable cause form? Who tampered that? And who, uh, you know, gave the order for the Mockingbird media to put out with Ernest Christopher Grant and Beto O'Rourke and Veronica Escobar, this the lie narrative, instead of being very, you could tell it was very political, because you could say, we don't know yet. Let's hear what Patrick Crusius has to say. Let's see if he is the one that actually put up uh the what was it, the manifesto. Let's ask these questions. But they didn't do that. From the very first day, they already had decided it was a lone shooter and the manifesto and all this false narrative. And they don't tell you, it's what they don't tell you that's so important, right? They don't tell you that he's from a wealthy family, because then you're going to look at uh, the application for uh, the assigning of a counsel, right? Which is going to cost the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. You know, the taxpayers didn't know at that time, but Patrick Crusius is from a wealthy family, and his family is in the courthouse with Judge David Guadarrama, Michael Mayella. His family is in the DA's office. His family was in the DA's office. His family was running with uh Aoun, with Tony Aoun at the courthouse. Did Anthony Aoun know Priscilla Mata? He absolutely knew Lorraine Mayella, and so they're doing their running. They're in the DA's office. Patrick Crusius's family is in the FBI office. Patrick Crusius's family was working for Walmart security. Patrick Crusius's family, uh, you know, is right there in El Paso. They didn't tell us that. They didn't tell us that. They didn't tell us that. They didn't tell us that he surrendered himself twice. They didn't tell us that they didn't bag his hands. They didn't tell us that they didn't read his Miranda rights at the beginning. Later, trickles out. They didn't tell us he was autistic. They didn't tell us that he didn't learn how to be verbal until around 6 years old. They didn't tell us that he didn't have the motor skills the motor skills to do this kind of crime. They didn't tell us that. Why have they put that off? He doesn't have the motor skills. And how do I know he doesn't have the motor skills? Because he signed the application with a Pat C. Have you seen that signature? Pat C? A patsy. Is he a patsy? It looks like he's a patsy. That's just absolutely God has, like, gosh, total control of this situation. With Donald Trump as the president, trumping all of these criminal attempts against his life. And they are. And the Walmart mass shooting was a criminal attempt against President Trump's life. It was absolutely because of the false narrative of just the most wicked hate crime. False wicked hate crime was attributed over and over and over again in the media to President Trump. And President Trump trumped it. He absolutely trumped it because it was false. And he stayed true. And it was false. The narrative was false. And you can see it over and over again. We have hard evidence, the audios, the witness statements, the article after article after article. We have Loretta Lynn Hewitt. We have family members. And we have, oh my gosh, there's so much evidence. And it's even connecting people that we were very friendly with at the beginning when they met us there in El Paso. They met us there in El Paso, and now we know who they are. They were up to no good. They were there to mislead us. They were there to be con artists, to put forth a scheme to cover up this scheme, the scheme of the Walmart mass shooting, in order to scheme against President Trump, to scheme to get President Trump out of politics because he was absolutely forensically investigating what Richard was reporting. What Richard was reporting was being forensically investigated, and they wanted to stop that. And this narrative was used to absolutely attack President Trump with the worst kinds of hate crime messaging, the worst kinds. It was so bad. I can't even repeat them. And it looks like Patrick Crusius to me, his own family used him as a patsy. Because absolutely, what in the world is Michael Mayella doing at the federal courthouse, allowing Judge David Guadarrama? And why is Judge Guadarrama allowing Patrick Crusius's family to run the federal courthouse where they were doing the hearings for Patrick Crusius? And who was at the courthouse with Penny Hamilton to magistrate, to be the jail felony intake from the DA's office, right? Who was there? Who was there with Tony Aoun? Who was there? And, so Patrick Crusius is connecting all the dots. And why was the hacker, Michael Mayella Jr., at the DA's office with Jaime Esparza? And Jaime Esparza has a conflict of interest, and he's in there with James Montoya, with all these lawyers that know that he has a conflict of interest. And David Guadarrama knows he has a conflict of interest. And Joe Spencer, because it's on, we got the hard evidence, the audio, that Jaime Esparza has a conflict of interest, and they are letting him collect millions of dollars for a couple years, almost 2 years, not saying anything, that he has this huge conflict of interest. because David Guadarrama had a conflict of interest, right? He had one too. He had one too. And I think he's retired. He's just has a very short docket, so it tells you this is important enough to bring a judge out of retirement, right? Um, so, and Montoya is um, tampering with his documents, and he can't even install. He goes through an entire election and then doesn't even install properly. It just tells you uh, what is going on, that there is something very, very wrong. And, it is absolutely an infiltration into the system. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. And I'll leave law enforcement to weed out who's who. And I heard that the 5 points that Doge was requiring for all federal workers is because there are many workers that don't even exist. There are some workers that don't even exist that are collecting. Who's collecting the money? There's a lot of fraud, a lot of fraud. So, it is really a very interesting time, and I just wanted to let everyone know. I know it's very late, but I wanted to come on to let people know that things are absolutely getting crazy. That means that, we're at the end of this. We're at the end of, and then there's going to be a beginning, right? Because of the lawsuits, right? Um, that absolutely have to occur, just like the Walmart mass shooting. We need to get justice in the Walmart mass shooting. We need to get justice for Richard and expose all the lies, because we won't have a country if we allow this kind of tampering with documents, tampering with timestamps, tampering with law enforcement reports, leaking law enforcement reports, all of this obstruction and tampering and everything. Uh, you know, you can't have a country with that. It's just going to be a disaster. And so we are absolutely very dedicated and determined to clean up El Paso, to get to the bottom of what happened to Richard, and to absolutely find Richard. Um, he has absolutely been declared murdered in the line of duty. They like to sugarcoat, like to, but it is what it is, and everyone knows it's the truth. And it's because he was whistleblowing on the criminal trafficking that was connected to the Walmart mass shooting, connected to 3705 Bliss Avenue, 3905 Bliss Avenue, to Mario Raskin Ortiz, to Danae Katzen, to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, to Jonathan Caleb Ambrose. And what was Rosa Maria's family doing with Richard's credit card after he had died, right? And so this is the questions that need to be answered. That need to be answered. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless you, and I will be back